In last week's video, we talked about why you keep hitting the frame. I gave you solutions and fixes to help you hit the ball clean. I told you why you keep hitting the frame, and I gave you a couple drills to help you hit the ball clean. In this video, we're going to talk about where the eyes should go as the ball travels to the opponent after you have just hit the ball. What exactly should you look at? What are your visual priorities? We're going to talk about what to look at when you play singles. Also, if you're a doubles player, I'm going to tell you exactly what to look at as well. I'm going to talk quickly about the 4 anticipatory skills you need in order to know where the ball is going to go before your opponent even hits the ball. I'm going to give you a couple drills to help you with your anticipatory skills. Let's check it out. As the ball is traveling to the opponents, the main thing you want to look at is the opponent's body language. Are they stressed? Are they comfortable? Are they moving forward into the court? Are they way behind the baseline? Are they balanced? Are they off balance? Do they have a big backswing? They're going to crush the ball. Maybe they have a very short backswing. Could be a drop shot. If you watch only the ball as the ball goes to the opponent, which is the most common issue I see by far, you will have no information about what the opponent is going to do with the ball. There's nothing you can get out of watching the tennis ball, okay? You want to watch the opponent as your first visual priority, and then you can focus on the ball, and the last visual priority is yourself. Where are you in the court? Where do you need to go? So again, we don't want to watch only the tennis ball, as that does not help you figure out where the ball will come to next. We want to watch the opponent's body language. Are they stressed or are they comfortable? Okay, so the first anticipatory skill we're going to go over is quality of shot anticipation. Now that we've established what exactly you should look at when the ball goes to the opponent, let's talk about what about the opponent you should be looking at. What exactly should you look at? We're going to talk about singles first, and then I'll talk doubles. Singles, the 3 things I want you to look at is the opponent's balance, their strike zone, and their position on the court. If the opponent is hitting the ball below their knees, or they're really stretched, or the ball is contacted maybe above their head, their strike zone is poor. So that means that they could be on defense. Now, if the opponent is off balance, their posture's not good, they're really stretching for the ball, then they could be on defense. Now, the last thing, if they are well behind the baseline or they're near the alley area, then their position on the court is poor. So all these things show that that opponent is on defense, which means, of course, that you're on offense. So again, watch the position, balance, and strike zone of the opponent whom is about to hit the ball. Now, if you see that they are stressed, because again, you're watching their body language instead of just the ball, what do? You get closer to the baseline. You might go inside the baseline, okay? You might even come to the net. Because when you're on offense, again, we said the opponent is stressed. If you're on offense, you want to take away time by climbing the ladder and getting closer to the baseline. Again, you might be a step inside the baseline, or you might even come to the net. Now, if you see the opponent is balanced, their court position's good, maybe they're hitting the ball near the service line, the ball is in their strike zone, you can see they're about to crush the ball, they're on offense, they're comfortable. That means that you are, of course, on defense. Where do you go on defense? You want to buy time when you're on defense. As I said before, when you're on offense, you want to take away time. So how do you buy time? You're going to back up. So if I see the opponents coming to the net, they're about to crush an approach shot, I back up, I buy time and space to give myself the best chance to get to that ball. Now, one more tip is, if the opponent is stressed, or they're on defense, they're likely to throw up a higher ball and hit it cross court. If they're on offense, they're going to hit the ball lower and harder usually, and they'll often hit it down the line more often than, again, if they're on defense, they typically will go cross court, as that is the safest highest percentage shot. Okay? So watch the opponent's position, balance, and strike zone. Offense, you go forward. Defense, you're going to back up some. All right, let's talk doubles, quality of shot, anticipation. Same thing as singles. You're watching the opponent's position, balance, and strike zone. Let's talk about, as the net player, you're playing doubles, and you notice that the opposing baseliner receives a difficult ball. They are on defense, they're stressed. As the net player, when I see that player is in trouble, I'm going to go closer to the net and towards the center of the court to try to pick the ball up. Why? Because it's very difficult for the player to go down your line when they receive a difficult ball. In fact, you welcome them to try to go down the line when they're stressed, because they're going to certainly miss it more often than not. So the reason they're trying to hit that ball cross court when they're stressed is because there's no net player on that side. It's a higher percentage shot. So again, they're on defense, go to the center of the court, try to pick that ball off. Now if they're coming forward, maybe they received a high short ball and they're about to crack it, you're going to want to back up, move with the ball. You can't afford to go to the center of the court, because now the opponent is on offense. They can do what they want with the ball. So you're going to move with the ball and back up just a step or two, depending on how hard they hit it. Now as the baseliner, it's the same idea as singles. If you're on offense, you go to the net. So if you see the opponent is stressed, they're on defense, means you're on offense, you go to the net, or you might just get a step or two inside the baseline and anticipate a short ball, okay? So again, net player in doubles, the opposing baseliner is stressed, you go to the center of the court and close to the net. If they're comfortable, they're on offense, you move with the ball, cover your side of the court more, and you might take a step or two back to buy time. A simple drill that you can do to work on your quality of shot anticipation is to just call out what mode or phase of play the opponent is in as they receive the ball. Meaning, are they on offense, defense, or neutral? If the opponent is stressed, then you would probably say defense. If the opponent is comfortable, they've got a good position on the court, balance, they have a good strike zone, then you would say that they are on offense. So you're calling out the opponent's phase of play, again, offense, defense, and neutral. The second form of anticipation is called geometrical anticipation. You want to be in the middle of the opponent's possible angles of reply each time they hit the ball, so that you, of course, have the best chance of at least getting your racket on the ball. Now, most players, no matter where they hit the ball, they recover to the center of the court. This is only the correct recovery if you have hit the ball to the center of the court. Okay, so I have this red cone representing the center of the court. If you hit to the center, you recover to the center. However, generally you're not going to hit the ball to the center of the court, hopefully. We want to make the opponent run a little bit. So, in this case, if I hit the ball to the cross-court side, the deuce side, where my cart of tennis balls are, I'm not going to recover to the middle of the court, because if I do, I'm leaving too much angle for the opponent to beat me cross-court this way. So, again, I hit it to the cart here on the deuce side. My recovery is actually going to be this yellow cone that's to the right of the center of the court. Now, if I hit the ball towards my trusty ball machine here, so I've hit it cross court to the ad side, I'm not going to recover to the middle, because again, that means the opponent is going to be able to hit an angle cross court that might beat me with that. So I have to respect that and be in the middle of the opponent's possible angles of reply. So the only time you recover to the middle is when you hit to the middle. Otherwise, you're going to move actually in the opposite direction of where you've hit the ball. So take a look at these cones one last time. These are the 3 recovery positions for when you are playing back at the baseline. When you approach the net in singles, you're no longer going to move opposite of where you have hit the ball to, as I just discussed. You're now going to move with the ball. So if the ball goes to where the cart is over here, I'm going to move to this left cone. Why? Because the ball is to the left. If I'm in this position when the ball has gone to the cart, of tennis balls, I can get any ball here with one step, and I can get just about any ball here with one step. If I incorrectly go to the center of the court, or I go to the opposite cone of where I hit the ball to, I'm now leaving too much space for the opponent to beat me down the line. And down the line is the quickest way for a ball to get to its target, as opposed to cross court, of course. So we want to cover the down the line shot when coming to the net. If I hit my approach shot to the green ball machine there, I want to recover to the right cone. So I'm moving with the ball. And with one step, I can get anything here. And with one step here, I can get just about anything that way. So at the baseline, you move opposite of the ball. When you come to the net in singles, you're going to move with the ball. Now, there's one little tip that I might add. If you get to the net and the opponent hits the ball when you are not quite close to the net, like where the cones are, if you're more at the depth of the service line, you're actually going to want to move to the center of the court, because now you're not close enough to the net to cut off these angles. So these cones, what I talked about there, is just for when you're close to the net. In singles, if I hit to that card over there, but I'm only this close to the net, so I'm in the service line area, I'm not going to move with the ball here, because now I leave too much space. So moving with the ball is only for when you're about halfway between the net and the service line. We're still talking about geometrical anticipation. Now we're going to talk about doubles. When you're at the baseline, you're in a one-up, one-back formation. You have hit the ball to the opposing baseliner, which is cross court from you, like this. Most players recover too close to the center of the court. So I'm covering primarily this half. In this example, I'm playing the deuce side. If I go to the middle of my half, I'm not in the middle of my opponent's possible angles of reply, and the opponent can beat me with an angle. So as always, this is what geometrical anticipation is all about, being in the middle of the opponent's possible right-left angles. The correct place to go when you hit cross court is behind the singles line. Okay? So use that singles line as a visual of where you should recover to. The singles line is the middle of the opponent's possible angles. So if they do hit an angle cross court, I can get to that. And if they hit it down the center of the court cross court, I can get to that as well. So we do not want to recover to the middle of our half. We want to recover to the middle of the opponent's possible angles of reply, which is, as the baseliner in doubles, behind the singles line. The same is true, of course, for the ad side singles line. Now let's talk about where you should go in doubles when you're at the net, or what's the middle of the opponent's possible angles. Geometrical anticipation. As the net player in doubles, you want to move with the ball. For example, if you or your partner have hit the ball towards the center of this ad side half here, where the green ball machine is, you want to recover right in front of where you hit the ball, which is the middle third of your half, okay? So the red cone is where you go. Again, you just simply moved with where the ball went. Now, if the ball is hit toward the left third of the court, which is where the red tennis ball court is, you are now going to be right here, okay? So you're pretty much literally moving with the ball. Now, the last one, if the ball is hit to the right cart, the yellow tennis ball cart, you're not going to literally move with the ball in this situation, because if you do, you're now covering only a very small part of the court. So the middle of the opponent's possible angles of reply in respect to this half of the court that you're primarily covering, obviously not covering outside the alley there, you're going to recover to this position here. So you can cover the balls that go to the alley, and you can cover anything here with one step. So by moving with the ball as the net player in doubles, it's almost impossible to get past if you're in the correct position. Again, ball goes to the middle third of this deuce side half. You're going to go to where the red cone is. Ball goes to the outside third, or the right third. You're going to go to the yellow cone. inside third or left third, you're going to go to the left yellow cone here. So a quick drill to work on your geometrical anticipation, aka being in the middle of the opponent's possible angles of reply, is to use a visual. As you can see here, if I'm playing the net and I want to work on moving with the ball and being in the middle of my opponent's shots, I can just go to the correct cone that I see in front of me. Another thing you could do, I have these rubber lines here that I use. The visuals are great because then you know exactly where you should go. So you put the visuals down, whatever you might be using, as long as it's not something you can trip over. You can put them on the baseline, or behind the singles line, I should say, for the correct recovery as the baseliner, and then you could put them at the net as the net player so you know exactly where to go. So again, simple drill for where to go is just to practice it using these visuals that you put on the ground, whatever you can find. The next form of anticipation is called patterns anticipation. This form of anticipation is the one of the least challenge. However, most players don't even think about this stuff, and it's largely because players are often too much me. They're always thinking about them. Where do they like to hit the ball? Where do they like to go on the court? We need to also focus on the opponents. What shots do they like to hit? If you know the opponent keeps hitting XYZ shots, then you can be in that part of the court to receive the ball more easily, as opposed to not noticing that pattern. You have no idea where they're going to hit the ball. So for doubles first, I like to focus on two patterns of the opponents. This can be individual based because each opponent may hit different shots, or it could be both players hit similar patterns of shots. Does the player lob a lot, or do they not lob very much? Again, this is for doubles. How often does each opponent lob? If they lob 80% of the time when you and your partner are both at the net, then you're going to know to be more back net as opposed to on top of the net. If they lob just 20% of the time, then you don't need to worry about the lob as much. Therefore, you can anticipate what ball the opponent is going to hit. Anticipation is not just about knowing where the opponent's going to hit the ball. It's maybe even more accurately said, where the opponent will not hit the ball, or how the opponent will not hit the ball. Okay, so how often will the opponent lob? And the next one is, how often does the opposing baseliner hit the ball down your line, and how often do they hit cross court? As the net player, if the baseliner receiving the ball hits cross court 90% of the time or 60% of the time, that's going to factor into your decision making of where you should be on the court. So, doubles, how often do they lob? How often does the baseliner hit it down the line versus cross court? If we talk about singles, it's all about the serve and return. Where does the server like to serve the ball in the first serve? Where does the returner like to hit the return? How often does the player hit the ball cross court? How often do they hit down the line when we're talking about their forehand and their backhand? Does the opponent hit very high shots with little pace, or do they hit low fastballs? Maybe it's different from the forehand in comparison to their backhand. So watching what the opponents do with the height, speed, spin, depth, and direction of the ball is key to knowing what they're going to do with the ball. So if you notice their trends and patterns, you'll have a good feel for what ball is going to come to you in every situation. A simple drill is to just pay attention to the shots that each opponent likes to hit. Every tennis player in the world prefers to hit the ball to this area of the court or that area of the court. They like to hit it higher, lower. Forehand return, they might lob off the backhand. On the forehand, they might like to hit an angle. So pay attention to the opponent's trends and patterns and put it in your memory bank about each shot they hit. So if they hit 3 lobs in the first game of the match, you got to notice that and take it into consideration the next time you go to the net. The last form of anticipation is called technical anticipation. This may be the most difficult one to master. However, with practice, anybody can master this form of anticipation as well. This anticipatory skill is about watching the opponent about to receive the ball's technique, hence the name technical anticipation. Some examples of this are the following. First ball I receive, or the first ball I'll hit, you're going to notice that my backswing is very short and the strings are pointing up. This means that I have only one option of what I can do with the ball, and that is a drop shot, in which the ball barely goes over the net. So this is my backswing. Before I even hit the ball, you should know that I'm about to hit the ball very short, okay? Now, another technical cue could be this. You see my backswing, you know it's going to be a slice, okay? I'll show in the forehand. This is going to be a slice, all right? Now, this backswing, the strings are down. Strings are down in this backswing. That means I'm probably going to hit topspin, okay? So the backswing, the length of the backswing, and the angle of the racket face is key to helping you anticipate what the opponent will do with the ball or what they will not do with the ball. So do they have a big backswing, a small backswing? Are they swinging high to low? Are they swinging low to high? All these things will help you prepare physically and mentally for the ball that you might receive. So again, watch their technique. What does it look like they're going to do with the ball? If they're swinging high to low, you know that ball's going to have backspin. So you might move forward and expect a low bounce. A simple drill to help you with your technical anticipation is to simply call out something you see in the opponent each time they receive the ball. An example of that, as I said before, can be small backswing, large backswing, topspin, backspin. Anything you see in the opponent, call it out loud, or you could call it to yourself. This is going to help you get your mind and focus away from just the tennis ball and on to what you should be focusing on, which is, of course, the player. So no longer do you have no idea what ball is coming back to you. You have 4 anticipatory skills that you can work on each one individually. Now, if you only take one thing away from this video, it should be watch the player instead of just the ball each time the ball goes towards the opponent. Because I guarantee if you're only watching the ball, your anticipatory skills will be very poor, as the ball will not give you any information. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, share it, give me a comment, hit the bell button, all that jazz. Please let me know if you're enjoying my content. I come out with a new video every Sunday, so make sure that you subscribe again, because then you'll see my latest videos.